Hey there, Coaster Addicts. This is Coaster Addict Jarrod, and we're here at Kings Island in Mason, Ohio, to check out their 4 classic wooden roller coasters here with you today. If you want to learn more about Kings Island's awesome collection of wooden roller coasters and a little bit of history behind it, we actually have an article up on coasteraddict.com that explains a little bit of the history behind the Kings Island's opening in 1972 and how they have been innovators in the world of the wooden roller coaster all the way up to the new for 2017 Mystic Timbers. So, click on the link in the description below to take a look at that article. But we're going to start out from the very beginning here at Kings Island, as we are here at the Racer, the 1972 ride that opened with the park on opening day. Now, there's a fun story behind this, as the Racer has been credited by many to actually be the roller coaster to kind of reinvigorate the roller coaster world. John C. Allen, a classic name and classic wooden roller coasters, was actually brought out of retirement by Kings Island to create their new awesome main attraction for their brand new park in 1972. And as you can still see here today, located in the back of the park, the Racer is still going strong today. It actually was such a big success that dormant period between the end of the Great Depression to about the early 70s, where roller coasters just simply were not being popped up nearly as much as they were previous to the Great World War II or the Great Depression, actually brought them back into the limelight, and you would see more and more roller coasters beginning to be built taller, faster, and more exciting than ever before. And a lot of that credit actually has to go to the Racer here. Also, one of the nice things about the Racer is that Kings Island can get pretty busy, especially in the middle of the summertime, but because it has always running 2 trains and is always running a dueling or a racing style of a coaster, the lines here are usually very short. You can usually hop right on, less than a 5-minute wait. Definitely worth the ride here at Kings Island to get on one of the more classic wooden roller coasters in Ohio, and also to sit on one of the roller coasters that may be one of the very reasons why your favorite roller coaster exists today. If it wasn't for the Racer in Kings Island opening back in 1972 and showing the world that roller coasters can be made big, fun, and exciting, we may not be actually talking about the awesome Fury 325 anymore. So, the Racer wasn't the only wooden roller coaster that was introduced with the opening of Kings Island in 1972. We're here in Planet Snoopy, which once again was voted the #1 kids area in the world by the Golden Tickets. And I highly recommend the Planet Snoopy here at Kings Island if you have any young ones that you're trying to introduce to roller coasters, theme parks. They have an awesome selection of flat rides and 3 really fun roller coasters that introduce young kids to the whole roller coaster game. And probably the best of the bunch is here, the Woodstock Express. This is actually another John C. Allen wooden roller coaster that was built with the opening of the park to go with the Racer. And it's still going strong today. It's an awesome little ride, and in my opinion, maybe the best wooden kids ride in all the Cedar Fair chains and all their lines of parks. If you think there's a better one, please comment below. Let me know if you think and I can recommend a better kids wooden roller coaster, or even just a better kids coaster in general. But I think this is a really awesome ride and an awesome way to introduce roller coasters to young ones. Now, it's probably more famous for its name changes. The Woodstock Express obviously has not always been named the Woodstock Express. In fact, it opened with the name of Scooby-Doo back in 1972. And then, with the success of the Beast, it was renamed to the Beastie, and it was actually added a really cool tunnel after it first dropped. Then, the Nickelodeon took over to create a Nickelodeon universe, removed the tunnel, and renamed it the Fairly Odd Coaster, which was supposed to go side by side with their popular cartoon, The Fairly Odd Parents. And then Cedar Fair took over, as we know. They're the Snoopy Park. So when they rebranded all their kids area to Planet Snoopy, they renamed it the Woodstock Express, which in general is basically their go-to name for most of their best, or not even best, but just generally their wooden or non-wooden kids coasters that they just named Woodstock Express. But this, in my opinion, is the best of them all. This is a really awesome ride and a really great way to introduce your kids to wooden roller coasters, steel roller coasters in general. Planet Snoopy at Kings Island is definitely a place to go if you have little kids. And even if you just need a good credit to get on your roller coaster credit list, the Woodstock Express does allow adults to ride, and I would highly recommend it over here in Planet Snoopy. So 7 years after the introduction of the racer, Kings Island decided to smash records and continue to put their name on the wooden roller coaster world by introducing and unleashing the Beast in 1979. This awesome terrain roller coaster that gives a once-in-a-lifetime experience, and especially at nighttime, perhaps the best nighttime ride in the world. Some people could argue some other roller coasters, but the Beast is infamous for its awesome night rides. This all-terrain experience takes you through the woods, around the hilly sides of Mason, Ohio and Kings Island to give you really a one-of-a-kind experience on the Beast. Now, one of the cool things about the Beast is this actually was a ride manufactured and built in-house by Kings Island. Now, they did have a little help from John C. Allen, who was the main man behind the racer and the Woodstock Express. But this was a ride built by Kings Island and continues today to thrill the general public. In fact, you can say that this was a trend paving roller coaster to help the likes of Boulder Dash and the Voyage, who are also considered to be some of the best all-terrain roller coasters, going through the woods and allowing the terrain to kind of dictate your experience more so than necessarily the ride itself. It just enhances the ride experience because you're not just riding on a roller coaster through a parking lot or a grassy field. You're going cutting through the woods, cutting through the trees, and also their famous double helix at the end through the tunnel. The Beast really just continues to be a must ride when you go here to Kings Island. Now, I rode it this year, a little bit on the bumpy side this year, but that doesn't take away from its classic appeal and the fact that it is just simply a living legend in the roller coaster world. So when you're here at Kings Island, make sure you hop on a ride out on the Beast. And also, if you ride it during the day, make sure that you're prepared to get right back in line as the sun starts to go down, because you gotta ride this thing at night. Simply one of the best night rides in the world. So, the Beast was unleashed in 1979. It can still be unleashed in your world too. Come here to Kings Island, ride the Beast. So, we are now here at Banshee, and I know what you're thinking, Jared, this isn't a wooden roller coaster. I think you might have lost your mind, but this is the old location to Son of Beast. 2000, Kings Island continued to try and be innovators and continue to push the boundaries for wooden roller coasters once again by creating the first ever hyper wooden roller coaster, which means 200 feet or taller. And just to make matters even more exciting, they decided to reintroduce the vertical loop, which hasn't been introduced at the time for nearly 100 years, and is only the second wooden roller coaster, and still only the second wooden roller coaster to feature a vertical loop. But you can probably say, Jared, this is one of the most infamous failures for Kings Island. How can this be a good thing? But for the industry, it was actually a great thing, because it introduced the idea that maybe wooden roller coasters do have height limits. After a certain height, the inevitability of having a rough ride may just become too apparent, and that we can't push the boundaries of height as far as wooden roller coasters do. What about inversions? Well, it reintroduced the idea that inversions are possible on a wooden roller coaster, and RMC has taken that idea and have really made it its calling card. So rides like Outlaw Run, which features some of the best inversions and one of the best rides in the world, could be made possible because Kings Island was brave enough to say, well, let's try to go vertical. Let's go with a vertical loop here on our 200-foot wooden roller coaster. Now, granted, this was plagued with problems and manufacturing issues, and there's a lot of really cool videos actually on YouTube that I strongly suggest that gives you a good history of Son of Beast. But this just was another example of how Kings Island was willing to push the boundaries, try things out, and help the industry by reintroducing, or really just being an example as far as a wooden roller coaster goes. So come pay your respects at the Eternal Flame for Son of Beast here at the Banshee Q line, and remember that Kings Island continues to always push the boundaries for wooden roller coasters. So we finally make it to the new for 2017 Mystic Timbers, the GCI wooden roller coaster here, located behind Diamondback. Hashtag what's in the shed. I'm sure you've heard about that over the last 11 months or so, but I'm not going to tell you what's in the shed. You need to come to Kings Island and experience it for yourself. But what I can tell you is the shed is another example of how Kings Island is having outside-the-box thinking to help enhance and give new ride experiences on their wooden roller coasters that I think will actually be an industry trend moving forward. It's a really cool idea. I think it's a really fun experience that a lot of people will enjoy. Just don't expect anything too exciting. But it is really fun if you go in there just expecting to have some fun and to experience something new on your wooden roller coaster experience. But the What's in the Shed tagline is almost overshadowed the real jewel here, which is the ride itself. This GCI is just awesome. I can't say enough really wonderful things about Mystic Timbers. It is my #1 wooden roller coaster, actually, after experiencing it during the day and at night, towards the front and the very back row, which has just been all awesome experiences. You go through some awesome maneuvers where you just gotta be turned back and forth and just maneuvering through the woods back here for what is really just an awesome ride experience. I cannot recommend this ride enough. It is really a great experience and an awesome addition to Kings Island. I know a lot of people were kind of hoping for a Giga Coaster, but this is not a bad ride to be introduced instead, and I still think a Giga Coaster very well to be in the future for Kings Island. But in the meantime, Mystic Timbers is a fantastic ride, a definite home run hit here by Kings Island. You got to get down here and check this out, because this is just going to go down as another wooden classic here at Kings Island. So, Kings Island has 4 awesome wooden roller coasters. It has one that was a bit of a failure back in 2000, but still introduced some great ideas through the industry. Kings Island continues to be innovators as far as wooden roller coasters go. This is going to be just another example of that moving forward. So get yourself and your family and your friends down here to experience these 4 awesome wooden roller coasters, as well as all the steel beasts that are surrounding them as well. Kings Island, you can't go wrong. Have fun, and we'll see you guys out there in the parks. We'll talk to you later, guys.